fellow book dragons, nerds, and worms. I'm Nettie, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. Today is TBR time. Happy March, everyone. I hope your March is going a lot better than mine is right now here in California. As people like to think, it's always sunny. No, it's not. It's very dark and gloomy right now. So hopefully yours is a lot more brighter than mine is. So with that, March happens to host Women's Day, aka Women's Month. And so I decided to cater this month's TBR to powerful women in literature. At least powerful ones to me. But before I get into this list, I want to hit you with a disclaimer, being that my TBR's lists are not typically like set in stone, concrete. I can't touch any other book because that's not me. I'm a mood reader through and through, and quite frankly, sometimes I pick books that I think I would want to read in the month of March and end up being completely wrong and want to read other things. So it's more of a suggested list, an SBTR if you will, rather than something that's more concrete, so please be lenient with me. Now, without any further ado, let's jump into this list. So this first book that I am going to hopefully read for this month is The Bane of My Existence. It's a book that I have started and stopped, started and stopped, started and stopped, started and stopped way too many times for it to be normal. So this month I hope is different, and that book is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. So this is the book that I picked up before I read the Darkest Minds trilogy last year, and I love that trilogy, so I know I'm going to love this, and I obviously know I'm going to love this because I stopped and started this book so many times. And I didn't do it because it was a horrible book. It is actually a phenomenal book that I can't not see myself not finishing, but for whatever reason, don't finish. I know, make it make sense. It don't make sense to me. Anyway, in this book, the Argon happens to be taking place. The Argon happens to be when 7 Greek gods get thrusted down to Earth for a punishment of a rebellion that they failed at. So while they're down on Earth, all their magical powers and immortality gets taken from them, and they get hunted by their descendants, and if they get killed, then the person that kills them gets their immortality and their power. So here comes Lore. Lore happens to be away one evening when her parents and siblings are brutally murdered, leaving her to be the only person still, so she flees. And as the next Argon approaches, she gets thrusted back into this world by an unlikely god and a friend she thought was dead. And the story kicks off from there. It is really good. I think Alexandra Bracken is a great author. I have loved so far every book she's written, so I want to add this to this list. So hopefully this month I get her done. Also, please don't come for me in the comments. I know that she's a little dirty. I know. I'm gonna buy a new book. Bear with me. This next book I picked up is actually a book that I am currently reading, and it is a duology, and they are We Hunt the Flame and We Free the Stars by Hazi Feza, I believe is how you pronounce her name. Don't quote me. Like I said earlier, I am actually currently reading this as I am filming, so this is going to be a treat to talk about vaguely. So in this book, we are following Saphira and Nazir. Jesus, I don't know why. It's so hard for me to remember their names. But Saphira is a huntress, or a hunter, if you will. She is able to go into the Oz and not succumb to madness and or death, so she is regarded very highly, whereas Nazir is a prince who is a hashashin, aka an assassin that does the sultan's bidding, but he is also next in line to be sultan. And their paths happen to cross when they both get asked to go on a quest to find this magical book that is supposed to help them bring magic back into their land. But as they start on this journey, they are realizing that not only is war brewing, a dark ancient evil is afoot as well. I'm loving it. I'm not gonna lie, at first I was a little like iffy because you get thrown right in the middle of the story. So you're playing catch up as you're reading along, but as soon as everything starts to click, as soon as everything comes together beautifully, you are on a ride of a lifetime, and I implore you to pick up this book. You will not regret it. So the next item on the list is actually another series, aka trilogy, and they are the Deathless series by Namina Foray, I believe is how you pronounce her name, starting with The Gilded Ones, followed by The Merciless Ones, and finishing off with The Eternal Ones. So this series kicks off with Dika going through a purity ceremony, and that ceremony pretty much lets her village know whether her blood runs red or her blood runs gold. Now, if she happens to have blood that runs gold, she is to suffer a consequence worse than death. And unfortunately for our girl Dika, her blood is gold. Her blood is gold. So that means that she is suffering a fate worse than death. And right when she's getting ready to give up and throw in the towel and succumb to her consequences, a mysterious woman comes and opportunity to become a warrior for the king's secret army, and the story goes from there. So I read this when this first came out back in 2020 and fell in love. I had a fun time reading this book. There were so many moments in this book that I was just like, yes, get it, girl, that I knew I had to put it down because I wanted to wait until the series was finished so that I could read it all in tandem and just enjoy the ride as it comes. And finally that has happened last year with the last book coming out, so now is the perfect time to pick up this book. So this next book is a little unorthodox for me, but it's fine because I do run the unorthodox library, so it makes a little sense. With Six Angry Girls by Adrienne Kistner, I believe is how you pronounce her name. So we are following two girls who happen to be jaded or slighted in some way. One of them gets dumped while the other one is passed down in a very humiliating way to be a lawyer for their school's mock trial team. So what do girls do when they get pissed off? They seek revenge. And what better way than to sit there and assemble your own mock trial team with other angry women to take down the boys? That's right. This book is centered around mock trial, and if you don't know, you will know. I did mock trial for all 4 years of high school. I loved it. I had a fun time. So when I found out this book is centered around it, I had to pick it up. And it's also really cool that, like, you are getting these females that are angry and are gonna shove it to someone, and I'm here for it. I am woefully and utterly here for it. This next book is, well, you know what? Let me just show you. Daughter of Sparta by Clary M. Andrews. So this book is actually a James Patterson Presents book, which means that it comes under James Patterson. And I happened to read another author that came up from under him, and that was Stalking Jack the Ripper series by Carrie Mangacinco. Love this series. If you haven't picked it up yet, go pick it up. She also has another series called Kingdom of the Wicked. That is a series that I plan on picking up sometime this year because I want to read this one and then pick up her next one. But we're not talking about these right now. Let's get back to Daughter of Sparta. So this is a reimagining of Daphne and Apollo's story where Daphne takes center place. So it says, Sparta forged her into a deadly weapon. Now the gods need her to save the world. That's right, we are getting a Daphne-inspired badass, and I just can't wait to pick this one up. And if it comes under James, it means it's going to be good. So I can't wait. Keeping with the reimagining, I decided to also pick up this book right here, Half Sick in Shadows by Lauren Sebastian. So this one, we all know Arthur's story, how he became king, how he was betrayed by his most loyal knight and the evil witch goblin person Morgana. But no one talks about Evelyn. Evelyn is the person that's seen all of this happening. So now we are going to see her in major motion and how her story is prevalent to what has happened. And I can't wait for it. This sounds really fun. I also know that she is the author of Ash Princess. I didn't get to read that series, but I heard a lot of good things. So I'm hoping this one is just as good. The next book is actually on my Kindle, and that is One to Watch by Katie Stayman London. There you go. I don't know why that's so hard for me to say, but it is. Anyway, I'm super excited about this book because hear this premise. So we are following Brie, who happens to be a fashion icon lady, and she happens to be asked to do this our equivalent of The Bachelor. But get this, she is a plus size woman. I need no more. I honestly don't care what else happens in this book. I am so down to see a woman of plus size have people fawning over her. Like, what? Let's go. I'm so down for it. Because the only other book that I could think of that has a similar premise to this is the one, or the Selection series, but it's like girls going after a prince, duking it out to be like the prince's number one, and then no one liked America. America was, ugh. Anyway, but this just sounds like so much fun. I can't wait to pick it up. You'll see in the weeks to come. You'll see. This is definitely one this is one where I'm going to work very, very, very hard to pick up. This next book is actually on my Kindle as well, and it's not really just one book. It is a trilogy, and it's the City of Brass trilogy by S.A. I cannot pronounce her last name. Please forgive me. But that woman right there. So let me make sure. Okay, so this series seems great. I forget which one it is similar to or what people reference in tandem with this book. I will probably remember once I'm editing, so I will have it somewhere on the screen. But because of that, I really, really want to pick up this book. And please forgive me for the synopsis because this is the only way that I could explain it. Please forgive me. So there's this lady that doesn't believe in magic, so therefore when she accidentally summons a demon, she is just as shooketh as her client. And it just goes downhill from there. She ends up finding a whole magical city, and in the magical city she realizes that she has to help fight off evil or something like that. Who knows? Either way, I can't wait to pick it up. It just sounds great. It sounds good. It is adult fantasy as well, which is something that I am wanting to incorporate a little bit more into my reading for this year. So yes. But before I conclude my list, there are 2 other books that I have to mention, and they go to book clubs that I am loosely participating in this year. I only say loosely because I did miss the first 2 already for both of these series, or the first one in one and then the first 2 in another one. Yeah. And so the 2 book clubs that I am hoping to be loosely associated with is the Literally Dead Book Club by Lala, who is a booktuber here that has her channel Books and Lala, or Lala and Books. I forget the name of her channel, but I'll have it linked down below, as well as her Instagram for the Literally Dead Book Club. And then the other one that I am loosely trying to associate with is the Book Troop, who is hosted by Gabby over at Gabby Reads. And I will post her channel as well as her Instagram for the Book Troop down below as well. So with this one, I have on my phone, so I will be reading them off of my phone. So for the Literally Dead Book Club, the book we are reading for the month of March is You Are Fatally Invited by Andy Perlago, I believe is how you pronounce her name. And in this book, an exclusive thriller writer's retreat hosted on a private island turns lethal when one of the authors is found murdered in this twisted locked room mystery. So that sounds really interesting. I know that there are a couple other books that have the same premise, so I'm excited to see if it's something that I like, and if I do, I will read more. Now for the Book Troop. It's book pick. That's funny. It's Listen to Your Sister by Nina Vale. In this one, we are following Kala, I believe is how you say her name, Williams, who is struggling to be a guardian of her brother. And when her brother decides to do something stupid in a protest, they are forced to go on the run. And they end up in like this slasher movie looking house that's supposed to be an Airbnb, where the siblings are now facing a new reality / predicament. And while their sister has warned them of these nightmares that has been occurring throughout her life of watching her brothers die, they now realize that they probably should have listened. Those are all the books that I'm hoping to read for the month of March. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys are going to be reading for the month of March. If you're going to be reading any of these books that you see up here, maybe we could buddy read. Let me know. I'm generally curious. Until next time, guys, there's an adventure waiting. Bye.